Yeah, credit Providence and credit coach and their players and just how they came in here and just impressive. Just how well they played. For the first 25, 30 minutes, and the game for us obviously was about Hassan Diarra and his will. It's just his will to not allow us to lose what would have been a really rough game, a rough game. Obviously, would have been a quad 3 loss at home, and it would have been a real tough one for us. So I thought, he carried himself and with the spirit and the will there of a 2-time national champion, and then obviously Tara's the second half was huge. Aiden Mahaney. I thought his defense was a lot better in the second half, and was a big difference maker. But we cheated death in this one here today, and we're going to have to win games in this type of manner. I thought the crowd at times was really great. I think our crowds here and at the XL Center this year, like we're going to need. You're not coming to games and watching dominant performances, and it's just a celebration of how great we are at basketball. Like we're going to need our crowd in the game, every possession helping us win. I think we've all been spoiled by the level of play in home games, and it's just been a highlight reel. This is a different team, especially with Liam out. And I thought in the second half there were times where the crowd was a huge difference maker for us, but we need it for a full 40 minutes. Because we're going to have to find different ways to win with Liam out.
Please wait for a mic from Molly or Bello for questions.
Dan here in the back. That second half was like a story of 2 grinds. The first 13 minutes was the first grind to get the lead. Second grind was the 7 minutes to hold the lead.
Yeah, we actually had a chance to get out of there with a double-figure win. But credit Providence and to show the character and the culture and the fact that Kim's one of the best young coaches in the country. And we had a chance, got it to double figures, maybe get that, maybe walk out of here winning by 12 or 14 or 15, but they just, they embody today what that coach is all about.
Dan, to your left. I think you've referred to Hassan as the ultimate soldier. What's it been like to see him handle kind of like so many different roles on 3 different teams now? And how easy does that come for him, or is it difficult at times for him?
Yeah, it's it's difficult. He probably should have. It would have made more sense to start him from the opener. Just have him at that natural point guard position rather than, to put a square peg in a round hole there with trying to, force that on Aiden. I thought you saw today, Aiden was able to just, he was on ball some, but for the majority of his minutes in the game, he was able to, just kind of look to create offense, look for his 3, go score the ball. So, I screwed up the early part of the season there. Haas is, he's the heart and soul of the team along with Sam. Just the passion that they put into it. Obviously, Alex is a captain, but whatever you ask Haas to do, he goes and does it. And with Liam out, we need now more production from Haas, and he asserted himself more in the game.
Dan, Sampson got off kind of a hot start, and then Taras kind of took you home with the second half. At least from a kind of statistical aspect, is that kind of how you sort of envision this 2-headed center? Each scored 10 points, contributing in different parts of the game, different ways.
Yeah, the center, the center Dave was never going to be center play was never going to be the issue with the team. It's like the growth of the sophomores, point guard play. It all comes down to that for us, and we've obviously stabilized the point guard play. Got to get Jay Ross going, got to get Jay Stu going more to give us a little bit more, kind of catch up to where Solo's at for us, but for us to really get where we want to be. But Yeah, I mean, Taras was awesome in the second half. I thought the first half he wasn't ready to go. He missed a critical defensive rebound that allowed them to get a possession, and then they hit a three to take a 2-point lead. But second half, he showed his impact. He made some awesome blocks and some timely buckets. He was a beast.
Just when it comes to rebounding, was that...
There's no Wi-Fi in here either?
I don't think I'll...
Is there Wi-Fi? You have certain spots you got to move over a seat.
Just
Bizarre.
When you look at the stat sheets, this rebounding, particularly offensive board, is that where you're probably most
Yeah,
disappointed?
I mean, listen, the on-ball defense now, if you look statistically for them, they generate a majority of their points. I don't know if they were top 25, but they were ranked. They're pretty high in terms of their 3-point amount of scoring they get from the 3-point line. At times it was really embarrassing, our one-on-one defense. The depth that they were able to get off the dribble is very concerning. Brings us back to our low moments in November. There, but we got to find a way to be sturdier on the ball. People just with us, I think Luke and Kamani do a great job of like scout prep with the actions that the other teams run. But sometimes teams are just putting their heads down and driving us because they're targeting players that are showing up on film as not great individual on-ball defenders. And if we don't get that squared away, that's going to be a major problem. And it was a problem a lot today. And the rebounding, we're not used to being minus 12 here. That's not part of our bulletproof basketball formula. There's going to be a lot of bad film for us in this one. But, again, I thought that had more to do with, how Kim English had his team ready to play today. And that was an impressive road performance by them.
Dan, how is your relationship with Haas different from the other point guards that you've had here? Obviously, he's got a lot of experience. New York guy brings that kind of attitude to it. And your relationship with point guards as a former point guard yourself is kind of like at the center of things here usually. What's the dynamic there with you and Haas?
Yeah, I think, obviously, you're fouling Pierre on that 3-point shot. There are moments like that where, you're really tough on your quarterback, should have threw the ball away instead of throwing the interception type of thing. But I got so much respect for how hard he plays and all the different ways he helps a team in terms of the energy, the competitive fire, the do whatever it takes to win a game, the being as selfless as he is, and just so I'm very grateful that to coach him because he's a winner and he's a champion. And, but it's a stressful relationship because, you're on him about decision-making. I mean, that's the preeminent position for decision-making, and he's got to make so many decisions during the game. Maybe 80% of them are really good and 20% of them aren't good. So, your relationship kind of tilts back and forth between praising him and ripping him.
What went into the decision to start Ross, and how do you think he did with that opportunity?
Yeah, I think what we wanted to go for, there was to start with a more formidable size and defensive lineup. It worked great. We were torn between him. Him and Aiden to get the start. Those are the two guys we're kind of going back and forth on. And obviously we went with Jay Ross. Listen, Jay Ross's game could have been a whole lot different. If he makes that corner three, if he hits that floater in the first half, he probably plays 18, 20 minutes in the game. But he's still a young developing player, and these minutes are valuable. And he just needs a breakthrough game where he goes 2 for 3 from 3, gets a putback, gets a cut, gets double figures, locks up on D, and then boom, it's going to take off. But the investment that we made in starting him today, I think that it'll pay off at some point this year. He's still a very young player, and he's got a really high ceiling.
As someone who's grown up in the Big East, today on what would have been Louis' 100th birthday, can you comment a little more on your decision to wear the sweater to honor him?
Yeah, it was really hard. It was a tough thing for me, just with how superstitious I am. And so I wasn't able to wear the clothes I wore against Providence the last time that we beat them soundly in Providence. So, but I changed some clothes at halftime underneath the sweater. It might have been a socks change, and maybe I changed my glasses. Matt Johnson actually didn't text me the glasses that I actually wore against them. The last time I wore the thicker rim glasses today in the first half, which was partially why we were so bad. If you go back and look at the second half, I had much thinner rimmed glasses, which is what I wore against them both times last year. So, obviously Matt Johnson let us down. But I would just say, for me, I grew up on 80s. I grew up consciously with basketball in the 80s. When those type of men were roaming the sidelines, those type of men, fierce men, fierce competitors, coaches that coached with life or death desperation to win basketball games. Coach Carnesecca obviously was one of those, the great John Thompson and Rolly Massimino and PJ, my coach, and all of those incredible coaches. Man, I grew up on that. I grew up on basketball in that era. So for me, as superstitious as I am, I wanted to honor those incredible coaches that were the best coaches for me and the ones that I've always idolized.
Coach, you've been one of the most physical teams in the Big East this season. You had one of the widest rebound margins in the conference. In the first half, you guys are getting killed inside. What led to that?
I mean, I just thought that, Kim just had his team more ready to play than I had my team ready to play a Big East game. And then if you really look at it for us, a lot of those rebounding margins were in bye games against low majors. We've had issues in the high major games, to rebound the ball. Even our margins in games that we've won, and I felt like we rebounded it well. It's not like it was last year for us, where we were plus 10, plus 12, plus 15. We don't get anywhere near the rebounding from our perimeter people. And then obviously with Donovan, who is, was a machine out there. So, that on-ball defense. I mean, with this team, it has its issues. And again, when you come to our games and just even the way we're coaching our team, for us, it's like we're doing anything we can to support our team to find ways to win games. And it's not as dominating, and it's not as highlight-filled, and it's not as much as a coronation, the games that we're all coming to and coaching. But at the end of the day, we're one game behind where we were last year, and we're one game ahead in the league where we were last year after everything that's gone on in our season. So I'm really proud of the team, proud that they found a way to dig that game out today, and we got to address our issues.
So one point in the second half, I think it was even before you guys had taken the lead, Coach put his arm around you. You guys seemed to have a chat there. Do you remember what he said, what was going on in that moment?
Yeah, he just told me continue to be a warrior out there and keep leading the group.
Terrace, what was your mindset when you came in the second half? Coach mentioned you missed a defensive rebound in the first half, and he didn't like that. But what was your mindset when you went out there and really took control of the game?
Yeah, first off, I got to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I mean, putting me in this position and just going out there and fighting. So first half, I knew I wasn't giving it my all. But at halftime, I mean, Coach riled us up. Everyone was yelling. I mean, it was kind of chaotic, but you got to find joy and peace through the chaos. So that's what I did, and I knew I had to come out and really give it my all in order for us to win. So I went out there second half and locked in and tried to play like a Kodiak. So. What
do you mean there was a bunch of yelling? What was
that? I mean, defensively we weren't doing our job. So being able to focus on that on the second half, knowing that if we lock in on defense, that that'll fix the game right there. So that was a big emphasis at halftime.
So you bought into the whole 48 thing?
Trying to. So every day, I mean, that's what get me activated. When coach says it, coach mentions it, and he asks me that question every day. So knowing that if I could be that Kodak on the Bear, I could be dominant, and no one could stop me.
You looked like you were just a lot more aggressive looking for shots today. I mean, sometimes it was late in the shot clock and you had to, but did you just come in with a more aggressive mindset today yourself?
Yeah, I would just say, with Liam being out, obviously we need a offensive lift. Wherever I could be helpful, whether that's facilitating or scoring the ball, just wanted to come in with a mindset of being in attack mode and being aggressive.
And with Liam out, you're going to see more length time now. Is this a really good way for you to kind of kick off this stretch where you're probably going to see more time with Liam out?
Yeah, I mean, just a big win for us overall. I think that's the biggest thing to take away. Like Coach said, we're going to have to find a bunch of different ways to win without Liam. So, it might be my night, it might be Haas's night, it might be Terrace's night, it might be some other guys that maybe didn't have a night tonight that are going to have one in Villanova and beyond that. So, really just everyone doing their best to step up and do whatever it takes to win.
Haas, because Coach played point guard himself, I mean, he could be tough on point guards, I know. What's your relationship like with Coach? How has it evolved since you got here? I mean, you guys kind of maybe joined at the hip, Dan Hurley and his point guard, right?
Yeah, Coach never takes it easy on me. He holds his point guards to a higher standard, the highest standard, because, the point guard is the head of the engine. I would say our relationship has grown the last 3 years, and I'm super appreciative of him. He's grown my career to another level.
The fall on your left. Hi.
There you go.
The fall away shot you hit close to the shot clock.
Kobe.
Buzzer. That possession, what initially were you looking to do with the ball? What did the shot look like when you let it go, and how'd you get it to go in?
Yeah, I mean, I forget what play we was running, but it didn't work. Shot clock was running down. I wanted to go to the paint, get a layup, but I got pushed off my line a little bit. Ended up behind the backboard somehow, and I just said a prayer. And
And you talked about before about you've had some struggles adjusting since you've come in here, and just wondered if are you able to sort of close out whatever noises out there, social media and stuff like that. Do you feel any of that at all, or do you just kind of ignore it all?
Nah, I mean, I keep a tight circle. I always have. My family, they just want to make sure I'm doing well as a person, first and foremost. A lot of people in my circle really care about me as a person before a basketball player. And as far as, the media and all that, that's never really fazed me at all. I've kind of had to deal with this now for 3 years, and obviously it's a little different when you come to a bigger stage, but nonetheless, I think that things about me don't change. And then lastly, just credit to the coaches and, my teammates for continuing to, keep me up. There are a lot of times where I feel like people could have gone away from me this season, and they continue to rock with me, and, I want to continue to try to pay them back for the opportunity they've given me.
And is your move into a sort of more off-ball role, is that natural for you, and do you feel comfortable? You look comfortable today.
Yeah, I mean, when you play with a point guard like Haas, it makes it easy. They're picking up 94, and not having to worry about it because he's going to take care of the ball. Obviously, is a big piece for it. But I'm just here to try to help us win. So if he wants me to play the 1, the 2. When Solo was out there, I don't even know. Sometimes I was in the 3 position randomly. It doesn't matter to me at all. As long as, I'm trying to contribute to help us winning, and we're winning. So, off ball, on ball, whatever, I'll do it. It doesn't matter.
Haas, the final minute of the game was probably a little more eventful than you guys would have hoped. What was going on in that final minute, closing this game out?
Yeah, it started with me. We definitely got to close the game out better, and that was part of my fault. Fouled a three-point shooter, turned the ball over, trying to split the trap. Things like that can't happen, especially from a senior guard. We'll be better.
Can you just run me through that basket, 60 to 58 in the lane? Looked like you weren't even looking at the basket when you put it in there.
That was nice.
Yeah. Just trusting. I feel like I shot a lot of those in my career at the left. I guess to highlight a different one, Terrace Reed had a beautiful kick out for me for an open shot. So I'd like to highlight that one more. That meant a lot to me. I think he was like jumping up in the air at half court with his man running past him. So maybe work on the celebration a little bit. But I appreciate my man for looking out for me on that.
Anything else for these guys?